Whoop. Welcome. I'll give it a moment for you guys to catch up. Welcome. My name is Laura, aka Perplex QT. And how you guys doing tonight? All right. So let me say hi to everyone. So there's not that many people here. What's up, Steph, Muppets of Manilow, Bonnie, Hummingbird, Red Dragon, Capone, Carol, November Rain, Stop Animal Cruelty, Steph, The Art of Handmade Dolls. see, Capone, you smart. Hey, Val. Oh, you finished the Muppets? I haven't finished it yet. Hey, Johnny, I'm only on episode 4, and I just haven't had a chance to finish it. No, I'm not going to scare you. But there's so many things in here that people don't know. There's so many Easter eggs that people do not even understand what is going on or why. It is very weird. But I think once it's put into perspective, it doesn't seem as weird as it seemed before that. What's up, Jules? Jules, I heard it's like 3 a.m. by you. Yeah, Steph was telling me that episode like 6, 7, it takes a huge turn or something. But it's pretty interesting. Snow. So is there anyone, let me explain what an Easter egg is. A lot of people don't understand like what an Easter egg is. And hey, Red Dragon, what's up, Mercedes? You be in the background. Got to get my mom to bed. Okay. I'm not going to jump right into it. I'll wait for more people to come in. I don't know how busy it's going to be, but I know there's a lot of drama going on. We're staying away from drama. I'm going to be hitting this channel a lot more because I got to get to 10,000. I can't even believe I've been slacking. Screw the drama. I got to get to 10,000. Hey, Dawn Marie. So I'll be doing this until I hit 10,000. I'm going to be upset. So I want to hit 10,000. And as far as my members here go, we're going to do something. I just don't know what I'm doing yet. I need to seriously focus on this channel and not my other ones, because this is the one that I'm almost at 10. And 10 is a big difference with YouTube. Once you hit like 10,000, you start like YouTube takes you more seriously, I guess. And it opens you up to a lot of different things at 10,000. Hey, Nana. So I'm not far at all. So I'm trying to figure out things to do for members and really focus in on this channel. Because like I said, I'm so over the damn drama. Let me put it on live chat. So yeah. So I decided, being that I'm so into this show, I mean, I guess I could be more into it. I'm not totally into it, but I could be more into it. Hey, Foxybot. Hey, Dawn Marie. So we got to get to 10. And I learned today, if you guys watch my earlier live, yeah, Dayton's playing a game. Hey, Kim, if you watch my earlier live, there's this thing in New York and LA where YouTube offers you free studio time and free a lot of different stuff for free once you're at 10,000. So once I saw that, I didn't even know about that until today. Once I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I got to get there. So if you're not sub, make sure you sub. Welcome, Steph. Hold on one second, though. I forgot. I got to get my retainer that I forgot in my purse. Hold on. Move, Booker. As you can tell, Dane's playing a game. Yeah, we got to get this 10K. So, all right. Who's mad? Dane's not mad. He's just playing a game. You know how kids get? How gamers get? They're crazy. Crazy. So when I say Easter eggs, I know I do have an older crowd. They may not understand what Easter eggs are. I wouldn't know what an Easter egg is if not for gaming. Easter eggs are put in movies. They're put in film, media. They're put in stories. Stephen King uses Easter eggs all the time. Gaming uses Easter eggs all the time. So they're found in like different films. Now they call them Easter eggs for the simple fact that it mimics the idea that you have to hunt them, you have to find them. Gaming, it's huge. So it's like there's a hidden message or a character or an image that their programmers and directors like to sneak in there. Is there a link for what? The movie, the show, the series? This series is on, yeah, Disney does Easter eggs all the time. Hey, Denise, a link for the series, The Haunting of Bly Manor. It's on Netflix. And if anybody wants to see it and doesn't have Netflix, I can stream it on Twitch. Like we did last time with the Chris Watts movie. I could do it that way. The only problem is I'm already on episode 4. I'm sorry, I ended 4, so I'm on episode 5. So Easter eggs are not easy to find, though. Same thing in gaming. But it's the whole thrill of the hunt that you got to find. And it's the whole hunt that makes it worthwhile. So some like world-renowned Easter eggs that are in there, that are out there. Like I said, Stephen King uses them a lot. Alfred Hitchcock uses them a lot. In Alfred Hitchcock, it's more about he shows up in movies. He used like his real dogs in the movie Birds, stuff like that. Like they're just hidden. Tron is another one that had an Easter egg. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Tron. On the screen, they had a Pac-Man where you didn't notice it was Pac-Man because you just noticed the big picture, but in the little tiny background, the picture was actually a Pac-Man screen. The movie Catch Me If You Can, which was about, it told the true story of Frank Arbonelli. He had defrauded millions from the government, and Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. Tom Hanks was in it. So when Frank was arrested, the cop that arrested him was actually the real guy. Raiders of the Lost Ark had one where the graphics in the back, instead of showing, like old Egyptian, it actually had C-3PO and R2-D2 from Star Wars. So like just stuff like that. Hidden Mickey Mouse, like Stephanie said, they use them all the time. They do. Toy Story had Mickey in it. You always see Mickey in a lot of different places. Toy Story eggs. The first movie, one of the guys wore the same skull shirt as, Toy Story 3. Star Wars Episode 1 starts off at a council meeting. The pods are discussing like State of the Federation. If you pause the scene and scan around in one of the pods, you'll see E.T. and his whole family. Like this is Walking Dead does too, but that's what an Easter egg is. Frozen has a couple of them, but one of them is Rapunzel has short hair in one of the final scenes. That's also in there. There's just tons, but that's what an Easter egg is. If you don't know what an actual Easter egg is, that's what they do. So leave it to The Haunting of Bly Manor. They have 26 Easter eggs in total. I don't know all of them yet because I haven't finished it. But I do know that there's 26 of them in total. Now, who saw the movie Dr. Sleep, which was basically in second adaptation of The Shining, or a sequel, whatever you want to call it? Did anyone see it? I watched some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. But the director of Dr. Sleep, Mike Flanagan, he also directed this. And you didn't catch a single, really? Okay. So Dr. Sleep was written by or directed by Mike Flanagan, who also did The Haunting of Bly Manor. So in episode 1, he highlights a notable change from the 1980 version, and that is the scariest ghost of the Overlook Hotel. Now, did anybody see the Haunting of Hill House in 2018? So the Haunting in Hill House, I loved. I can't even believe that was 2 years ago. I felt like I watched it like 6 months ago. And Dr. Sleep, you can watch anywhere. I don't know if you could see it on Netflix. I saw it on Kodi a long time ago, like when it first came out. It's basically a sequel to The Shining. So in The Haunting of Hill House, which this is, they try to say is like technically related or a sequel to The Haunting of Hill House, but basically Flanagan is just slowly building up his credentials in film and, horror history. So he also did Gerald's Game, which was a King thriller. I thought that movie sucked. I could not get into it. Me and my ex Angelo sat there watch it. We tried to get into it. We kept watching and we're like, okay, when is this ever going to pick up? It was so weird. It was so boring and I hated it. So that one didn't get Flanagan too many pluses, in my opinion, because it was awful. But Dr. Sleep was actually really good. It was released in 2019, and it follows a grown-up Dan Torrance. If you remember, it was really good. If you remember The Shining, the kid, that's who Dan was. So in Dr. Sleep, he has an older one. He shows him as an adult. And he tries to protect another child who has the ability to shine, quote unquote. And he's being targeted by a group of vampires, a very mean group of vampires. So Dr. Sleep recreated all this detail, really good detail of the Overlook Hotel, which is seen in this film. So Henry Thomas, who plays Lord Henry Wingrave in The Haunting of Bly Manor, played the bartender Jack Torrance in Flanagan's sequel. However, Bly Manor's Shining Easter egg is specific nod to King's novel. So in episode 1, which is called The Good Place, Danny, who's the main character, is staying at a cheap hotel in London while searching for work. Now, most people are not going to pick this up. I'm going to tell you that I would have never picked this up, ever. So the number of the room that she's staying in is 217, which, if you guys know, was the number of the especially haunted hotel room in the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, where both Jack and Danny Torrance both encountered the ghost of a woman in the bathtub. So in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, the number of the haunted room had to be changed to number 237 per the request of the real hotel, because they were afraid that thanks, Val, because they were afraid that if they did, nobody was going to want to rent the room. So they were like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. So they ended up using 237. But the irony of it is that more people request 217 than 237, even though allegedly that's where the room was done. So Kubrick was asked not to depict 217 feet that's featured in the book, The Shining, because future guests at the lodge, may not want to stay there. So Stephen King notoriously hated Kubrick's version of The Shining. I don't remember hearing that. I kind of maybe remember that, but not so much. So he loved Flanagan's adaptation of Dr. Sleep, but didn't like the book version of The Shining. And he felt like Dr. Sleep, because it was weird, because it was so close to Kubrick's film version of The Shining. So like Stephen King even said, like, I don't want to get into a big argument about how the Shining film is that Kubrick did or my feelings about it. All I can say is Mike Flanagan took my material. He created a terrific story. People who have seen this movie flip for it, and I flipped for it too, because he managed to take my novel of Dr. Sleep, the sequel, and somehow welded it seamlessly to the Kubrick version of The Shining, the movie. So yeah, I liked it a lot. That was Stephen King's own words. So given the room number, it comes as no surprise that Danny sees a ghost in the mirror before she leaves, though it's a ghost that's specific to her rather than room 217. So the name could be also interpreted to be a nod of Danny Torrance, especially since her last name is Clayton, which is another Easter egg referring to the Innocence director Jack Clayton. So in its exploration of how people and places can be haunted, The Haunting of Bly Manor has some pretty strong theatrical connections to The Shining, though its most dangerous ghost prefers lakes over bathtub, but it's still in water. So that's where the Easter eggs fall in, and that's where that kind of sits. So now we go into different parts of episode 1. So that kind of lays it out, like, to understand Easter eggs, because you're going to hear about Easter eggs a lot more. So there's 2 little characters in it, and they are the cutest little things. It's Flora and Miles. And I have to be honest with you, I should have gotten pictures. I didn't. Actually, you know what? Let me show you. It'll take me 2 seconds to pull it up. Okay. Now, this is even more interesting, actually. Hold on. Hold on. But hang on, dum-dum. Buka, stop. You'll have to wait. You have to wait. Go lay down. All right. Hang on. Let me let the dog out. Come on, you pain in the ass. Let's go. Okay. All right. So this is interesting. Hold on. All right. So this is Flora and Miles. These are the 2 kids from the show. What's interesting in these are Miles and Flora from the movie The Innocents. So they really took, especially Miles, they really try to adopt the same type of character. I mean, they look a little different, but they're definitely similar. So those are the kids that are in it, which gets into, like, he was at boarding school. He was at boarding school and he got kicked out of boarding school. You don't really know why he got kicked out of boarding school at this point, but that's who they are. Because they're really, really cute and they sound really cute. But yeah, you see how alike they look? Muppets and Manilow and Steph, they'll understand because they've seen it. for those of you that have seen it, you're like, wow. For those of you that haven't, you wouldn't understand so much. But yeah, they look a lot alike. So they're definitely like joining all the movies together and like putting them together. So, and it could be a little spoilers. I'm not trying to put any spoilers on it. But so in episode 1, this is what you find out in episode 1. You find out that this girl has a dollhouse of the house. And inside all these like weird, like voodoo looking dolls. And I mean like literally like voodoo looking dolls. These dolls are so weird. Uh all right. See, let me tell you, this is where StreamYards suck. Because you can't do what I can do on and pull up a picture or whatever. You can't do that on here. So these are some of the voodoo dolls. I call them voodoo dolls, but they're not like actual voodoo dolls, but that's what I think they look like. And so these are some of the dolls. And these are all in the house that she's in. These are all in the house in this like recreated dollhouse of the manor. And the manor is beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And it's everything you would think of like a ghost house. But each one of these characters represents somebody in the house. Now, also in the first day, the little girl told her, do not leave the house, and she would not listen. And each one of these represent, like there's one that hides under her bed that is remembrance of the lady in the lake. I mean, it gets really, really, really like intense. So what you don't know is it demonic possession or what actually is going on? That we don't know yet. You will know why soon. I know, that's what I'm saying. I understand that. Again, I only saw episode 1 through 4, so I can't say what goes on after. I just know episode 1 through 4. And hold on. So like I said, I should have had this more. I should have done this on my other screen. So it kind of gives some clues, though. Like the beginning gives some clues about the kids' motivations, what they are. Yeah, she told her to stay in bed at night. Do not leave your room. Of course, she doesn't listen. So Mike Flanagan goes back and forth in time. So it begins with Danny Clayton, who is the blonde, agreeing to look after 2 children, which is Miles and Flora, who lost both their parents in a car accident, along with their previous nanny, Rebecca Jessel. And she allegedly died by suicide. So at Blind Manor, Danny meets the housekeeper, which is Hannah Gross, which you later learn a secret about her, and learns about talismans that Flora uses as protection from evil forces. So she says. It's The Haunting of Blind Manor on Netflix. So when Flora tells her, like, you know, stay in your room, she doesn't listen. Who's going to listen to a 7-year-old? I wouldn't listen to a 7-year-old. Well, then again, I'm a chicken shit, and I'd actually freaking stay in my bed and not move and probably hide under my damn covers. Because if I walk into the house and every single mirror is covered, yeah, I'd probably look the other way. I'd definitely probably run the other way, because that's a sign you should not be there and something is wrong. Not one mirror, but every single mirror is covered. Probably not a good sign. So what happens is she doesn't listen. So they brought they lost both their parents. The following evening, Danny accidentally kicks over one of the standing talisman in Flora's room, and she subsequently is locked in a closet by both kids. She is freaking out in this closet, freaking out. And it's almost like you just like, she just freaks out. Almost like she has claustrophobia, but she doesn't. And then you see a quick guy in a mirror, and you don't know anything about this guy. You just know that he has like John Lennon type glasses on, that it gets all like weirded. Like it looks like you're seeing pictures or like flames or something. Very like odd. And so she's, locked in the closet. They lock her in for her own protection though, because by kicking over Flora's talisman, Danny awakens the Lady in the Lake, which you don't really know much about the Lady in the Lake at this point, but she is the primary villain of the entire series. So her name is Viola. She lived at Bly Manor centuries ago and was murdered by her sister after an illness. So she's faceless and she's restless. That could be an Easter egg from Amityville Horror. It could be. She's faceless and restless, and she's never leaves the property. She's at the property to look for her daughter. Miles and Flora know that Viola's dangerous because they previously saw her kill Peter Quint, which you meet in the next episode. He's their love interest of the former nanny, Rebecca. So the Wingrave children tricked Danny to prevent another attack. So these kids have already lost their parents. They know their house is haunted. So they really just try to, they don't want to get somebody else killed. They're really trying hard not to get somebody else killed. So fast forward, we're going to find out more. And I read this, that they're going to find out more, which I'm not there yet. The closet is also a link to another like spooky subplot that Danny's frantically trying to escape. She spots a male ghost in the mirror, and you don't really know who it is, but then you later find out by episode 4 that it's actually her fiance that she was going to break up with. And as she was going to break up with him, he opens the car door to get out, and boom, he gets hit by a car and crushed, done. Murdered, dead on spot. So she has all this guilt, which is why she went to London in the first place. And that whole love story, or a traumatic story, whatever you want to put it, is really the climatic suspense throughout the whole series. Or at least to date. Everyone's telling me it does change. See, Handmaid Doll, if I would have seen a ghost in a closet with a mirror, yeah, I think I would have freaked the fuck out too. That wouldn't be something I could handle. So then you move on to episode 3, where you get more into Miles' flashbacks about boarding school, what his what the priest told him about biblical demonic possession, confirming that he might be possessed because he acts very, very weird at different times. And there is a good chance that you're learning that he's possessed by this Peter Grant. And you kind of get that feeling too, because he does something with the babysitter, like a flirty thing that a kid would never do. So that's all in episode 3. The ending also of that episode, Miles shouldn't hurt himself too much, but you can tell he's trying to hurt others. So given what they've lost, you expect it to be strange. But then you have, then they bring in a lesbian relationship between someone that might even be a ghost and the main character. And it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And you don't know if they're literally possessed or it's trauma that's possessed. What's keeping them together? What is just making them connect? And there's just so much to it. And then you have this Grant guy that he was very into this girl, and he seemed really, really nice, and he was giving her flowers and laying on the charm, and then you start to see that he's very, 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 and I mean very, abusive. And he brings her to parts of the hotel or the manor that he shouldn't be in. And it's very, very scary. Scary meaning that you just know what's coming. You know this guy is an abuser. You know that this guy is just going to hurt her somehow. How she ends up dead, I don't know yet. If she's the lady in the lake, I don't know that either. But yeah, he does not. It's pretty bad. Like, seriously, it's pretty bad. So this game of hide and seek naturally provides, horror is going on. And I like I said before, I almost can't believe that Danny agrees to like look after these children after being locked in a closet and not wanting to go anywhere. And seeing these dolls. I mean, if I saw voodoo dolls around, I think I'd be a little creeped out. Just a tad bit. But she's more affected by her own demons than the ones that belong to the Bly, honestly. She puts on a pair of the mother of her ex-fiance gave her these glasses that were his glasses. I can't believe here. I can't be here, Laura. I'm too far ahead. Love you. Love you too, Steph. And she gives her these glasses, and she's already ready to go to London. So she puts on these glasses, and like she's freaked out. So then Flora finds the glasses, and Danny is horrified that she has them on. So they end up breaking, and Danny's like so shaken up to explain like what's going on. The glasses have the same shape as the fiery eyes from Danny's mirror demon, which at that time, I don't think she realizes that he is the mirror demon. I don't think that he gets that it's the mirror demon, that that's her fiance. But you see all these different things. You see her her prom and her wedding and all these different things that never happened yet, or that did happen, but it's happening in the house and not where it was. So it's definitely a lot of flashbacks. So it's kind of like Bly is just spinning a web of questions right now. So you're kind of not really sure what's happening. But there is something really, truly intoxicating about the uncertainty of all. What's real, what's not, who's a ghost, who isn't. I thought somebody died when they weren't even dead. And it really makes you question what's normal and what's strange, what's supernatural, what's, trauma. And at this point, you just don't know. Now, some different observations, like it's safe to assume that Carla, which is the one she makes out in with another episode, is kind of uncertain. They always have this muddy footprints that appear at the start of an episode. Maybe they're the kids, maybe they're not the kids, maybe they're the lake. The remaining adults there that I keep thinking of American Horror Show, I don't know if they're dead or alive. They do leave the house. They do leave the property. At least two of them have. But at this point, I don't know if they're all supposed to be dead or not. And Hannah continues to exhibit strange behavior when like she sees a crack in the wall, but it's not really there. Just so many things just don't totally make sense. It's not really scary, Desiree. It's more of an intense kind of scary. It's more of a weird kind of scary. So the flashbacks, like from her focus on between Peter and Rebecca, that's a romance that was like the wrong kind of love, only because he was dangerous. Hey, Baby Blues. See, then that's why you're here, Baby Blues. No, they're not all dead. And the opening scene, Baby Blues, I forgot this. The opening scene is the wedding that they're at in New York or wherever they are. That's Flora's wedding. That's that little girl's wedding. So if nothing else, we know she survives. and then someone comes in to tell the ghost story. It's actually her story. But that opening scene of that wedding, that is Flora. That's her wedding as an adult. So it's definitely the same century. It's not a different century. But you can also tell that the jeans she's wearing, that Danny's wearing, that's an 80s. Like, she's definitely looking like they want to portray her as the 80s, because nobody wears pants like that anymore. That was definitely an 80s style pants. So I caught that up too. That, they have her wedding in modern day, which would make sense if Danny was like a teenager, or not a teenager, but 20s in the 80s. Why not believe in supernatural good being? What are you talking about, Foxy Bot? I never said the supernatural was always bad. So, like I said, it gets into episode 4, it gets into just some weird stuff. Where there's increasing hints that Hannah might be dead. Miles says that he dreamed that he heard Hannah, so she still refuses to consume anything other than tea. We've never seen her off the grounds of Bly. In fact, at this point, only Owen and Danny have appeared off the grounds. There's also the 4th candle that she lights, because there is a sanctuary that she's in, and you never really see her drink, though. I have seen her drink some wine. She threatens Peter in the past. Peter does not seem like the kind of guy anyone should really threaten, because he is definitely an abuser, hands down. There's little like threads, like the fact that Flora got her perfectly splendid catchphrase from Rebecca. There's allusions that Flora's attached to dolls too. Rebecca remarks that dolls are fun to make up stories, but Flora interrupts her to say that they're not made up. So Flora also makes a doll version of Rebecca, the doll we've seen her with in the present. The doll stuff likely has significance to do with the show's mythology, but these moments also give, specificity. I can't even say it right, into Flora's coping mechanisms and dealing with grief. So that's pretty much where I'm at so far. The common catchphrase in it is perfectly splendid. Everything is perfectly splendid. She lights the candles for the dead. Count them. It's a hint. Yeah, because she's dead. She can't light a candle for herself because she's dead. We know Peter can't be trusted. But I do know right now it's still kind of carefully plotting. But this episode culminates like with one of the creepiest children's story times ever, where Miles and Flora perform 2 stories about a cat named Tails and the Puppet, or Poppet. So it starts out sweet and turns sinister, which mimics the Rebecca and Peter romance. So Miles' story involves a puppet maker who punishes his puppets for forgetting that he made them. Storytime mostly reiterates the overall disturbing vibe of the children often, cultivate, but it's also possible that Miles' story contains clues about Bly's mythology. The puppet maker could be a stand-in for Peter, who probably does think he made Rebecca. So, yeah, it just keeps going. And then they keep getting phone calls over and over and over, but nobody's ever on the phone. So that kind of says that, it's someone dead. And then finally someone does answer, and you find out that Owen, who's the cook, his mom is dead. So he leaves and then comes back. For some reason, when I was watching it, it sounded like he was the one that died. So the muddy footprints are referenced again. Rebecca thinks it's the kids sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night. And like the background ghost alert, you see a shadowy figure, possibly in a uniform, in the back of the entranceway while Danny is talking to the police officer. So it's just, there's a lot of little things, and that's all I'm at so far. Thank you, Muppets, but that's all I'm at so far. So between taking notes and going through everything. That's where we're at. And yeah, it's really good though. But it's not a scary kind of it's not a scary kind of story. It's more psychological horror is the best way I can put it. It's definitely psychological horror. And imagine just being there, you're looking in a mirror and all of a sudden um you're in the you're like your prom room, but you're in this house. It's really weird. Now I can tell you some of the Easter eggs that are out there. Some of the Easter eggs are the opening scene. And this I already went through, though, is that the opening scene and its title, which is The Great Good Place, is the name of the title for episode 1 or season 1 or whatever. That's actually a short story published in 1900 by a man who was able to access a dreamlike retreat and could either be a supernatural or a time-bending experience or simply a figment of his imagination, which is where we're at now. The second one is Danny Clayton. Danny's last name is a reference to director Jack Clayton, whose 1961 psychological horror movie, The Innocents, which is where the other two kids look, just the same. The Innocents famously adapted James' Turn of the Screw, which Bly is directly inspired from. Now, number 3 is a governess. In the original Turn of the Screw, the main character is referenced as a governess rather than a nanny or an au pair, which is what Danny's job title was in this version of the movie. I already went through room 217. Another one is number 5 is She'll Walk the Rest of the Way, where Danny asks Owen to let her out of the car, let her walk to the manor, which is also directly quoted from Clayton's The Innocents, where the governess does the same. Then you have number 6, which is Oh Willow Wally, which is the folk song Oh Willow Wally, is used again and again throughout the show. And it's just another element referencing The Innocents, which use the song to similar haunting effect. Then you have Hannah's candles. People talking about the candles. Hannah lights 4 candles in the chapel, one for each of the deceased Wingraves, one for Rebecca, Jessel, and a mysterious 4th. We don't learn until much later that Hannah herself is a ghost, which makes her extra candle some very subtle foreshadowing. So that, I had a feeling. And that's all we're at so far. That's all we're at. I got no more Easter eggs for you. And that is the haunting of Bly Manor. I personally would not survive. I would be Rebecca and I would kill myself. I could not handle being scared like that day in and day out. Could not do it. Too much. Way too much. What about you guys? Would you guys be able to survive that? Big house. Now, what I don't know is I don't know where the other people sleep. But the rules are you don't leave your house at night. You don't leave your room at night. Yes, don't give it all away. I like to work it out. Yeah, me neither, Hummingbird. Hell no. Hell no. I got the hiccups. All right. Do have, speaking of ghosts, there's a Florida couple, brand new, 37 years old, found dead yesterday in a murder-suicide. So it happened in Florida in Bradenton Beach. Cops there say it's the most gruesome crime scene they've ever worked. It's an apparent murder-suicide. So it was Sabrina Marie Dundee and Zachary John Winston, 34, both pronounced dead at the scene. Dundee and Winton were the only occupants of the building, according to the police. They are doing autopsies to find out exactly what happened on Monday. We have no idea. All we can tell you is a lot of blood, and they're waiting to find out exactly what their wounds are and consisted of. They arrested him in September for domestic abuse. So court records say that Winston was arrested at the Bradenton Beach address on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, tampering with a witness, false imprisonment, and domestic battery, and was ordered to have no contact with Dundee. An order was filed lifting the no contact order mid-September. And according to the arresting officer's report, he said that he would kill Dundee when he got out of jail. So the police record said defendant and victim had been arguing for the last 2 days, but today's victim said it got worse. Victim stated Winston refused to let her leave her house or his site by threats of violence. He felt confined. She felt confined. Defendant then grabbed her by the face, held a razor knife to her neck, and said, "Leave and see what happens." Victim had a well-founded fear that Winston had the ability to carry out such a threat and that it would take place. This is all on the police report. Yeah, I switched chapters. I'm now on a real-life story. I know I kind of segued into that not too well, but yeah, I'm on a whole new story. Because this is that channel where I switch stories. So victim stated defendant would not allow her to use the phone but only call his sister as he hindered or delayed her from making any other calls. Victim finally got away and made the call to 911 dispatch, but he had to hang up the phone in the middle of the call. As defendant had found her and once again put her fear of violence. Upon my arrival, defendant was yelling and walking at victim with a large kitchen knife I observed in his back pocket. Defendant then issued verbal commands at taser point for him to back away from the victim. He then compiled and was detained. While detained in police office department, Winston made numerous threatening remarks about what he was going to do once the victim got out. "I will kill her. She's going to pay. Even if I get charged with felonies, I'm going to kill her. I will cut her throat." And Manatee County court records indicate that Dundee was arrested on suspicion of domestic battery in July. So I think it's safe to say he probably killed her. Special said Dundee's father had been trying to reach out, and when he couldn't, he came to the house. He saw his daughter on the floor and broke a window to get in. Chief said that the scene was so bloody, the officers could not tell what caused the wounds. It's probably the most gruesome crime scene I've ever seen, the worst in 37 years that I've ever seen, Diaz told The Sun. It's going to be really hard to put together what actually occurred, what the chronological events were that led up to the actual event deaths. Going through the crime scene and the photos, I try to put something together, but it's going to be speculation because there's no witnesses and nobody saw or heard anything. So that is a case that just gave me a pop-up. And yeah. Another dad, a strange dad under investigation for child abuse, killed his wife and then killed his daughter and then himself. Why don't these guys survive? Then you have a parent's overdose at Tennessee intersection while a toddler was in the back seat. A 23-year-old and 25-year-old stopping an intersection near Anatoc High School in Nashville. Couple was unconscious. 2-year-old was strapped in a car seat. Crazy. You need to make a perplex pocus candle for Halloween, like the hocus pocus candle in the movie. All right, I could do that. Yeah. Vincian told paramedics that the couple snorted heroin while they were driving around, and he had pulled over to take a nap. Little girl's been placed in the custody of a grandparent who was watching the couple's other child at the time. Both were in jail as of this morning. They're being held on $250,000 bond each. What possesses you to do that? You have a child in the car. Why are you doing heroin? Crazy. Now, Val, for all you missing people, woman who was missing for nearly 2 weeks at Zion National Park was found alive. Suzanne Cordier, 38, was last seen in a parking lot at a national park on October 6th, having taken a shuttle bus to the trailheads. She did not meet the shuttle for the scheduled return trip. She was missing for 2 weeks. They found her within the park and did not include any details about her condition or her activity for the last 12 days, but she was found alive. So for all of you looking into missing people, there you go. Mom's boyfriend charged with murder and death of toddler twin. Michigan couple already facing abuse charges for their treatment of their 13-month-old baby now expects to be arraigned on Monday for the murder of that child's twin. Lisa Marie Reed, 34, was arrested and charged with first-degree child abuse, while a boyfriend later identified as James Gibson fled. Gibson was later caught at a relative's home and also charged with first-degree child abuse. Police spokesman at the time said it was the worst case of child abuse he had ever seen. There was some trauma to the child's face and head area, ears, stuff like that. You have one child that's deceased and one child obviously being abused and having those injuries. This is the worst I've ever seen. Zion underwent surgery at Children's Hospital to repair broken bones and other injuries. Detectives said at the time Gibson, who was not the father of the twins, beat both boys severely. Family members told Crime Online that Reed is a high-functioning autistic mother and that Gibson manipulated her. Pictures being overshadowed with emphasis on a mother that probably didn't know how to respond due to her mental or emotional abilities in such an overwhelmingly emotional situation. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy said Friday that Gibson will be charged with first-degree murder and Reed will be charged with second-degree murder, the Free Press reported. Evidence in this case will show that Zaire Reed suffered abuse for almost half of his young life. He was 13 months old when he died. The alleged facts of the case left seasoned prosecutors shaking their heads and vowing to seek justice on him. That's sad. Really sad. That's what I got for you. Horrible. Those are the news blurbs from today. I agree, Denise. They annoy me too. Well, there was a happy one. A missing woman nearly 2 weeks is found alive, so there was some happiness. Let me tell you, I have a big problem with child murderers, with people that beat children. Why are you going to have a fucking, well, then again, it wasn't his kid, but why are you going to have a child if you're just going to kill him? It makes no sense to me. Val, another missing woman, Stephanie Hollingsworth, missing mom's vehicle found submerged. She was found alive too. I mean, she was found too. She was found dead, but she was found. That was also in Florida. Now we have a missing woman in North Dakota, a mom who vanishes after she walked away from a party in freezing temperatures. She's 47 years old. She may have intended to walk to her home 25 miles away at 1:30 a.m. on October 4th, wearing only a leather jacket and cowboy boots, jeans and cowboy boots. But they're just not sure. Witnesses have provided conflicting information about what was going on at the farmstead and why she may have walked into temperatures that have dipped below freezing. but she is missing. Last seen on October 4th. She's 5'2", 155 pounds. They brought tracking devices and cadaver dogs to the farmstead Thursday to try and determine which way she went, but the dogs were unable to pick up a scent 2.5 hours. They were unable to pick up a scent after being on the farm for 2.5 hours. Detectives were able to take her truck on Thursday after discovering the title had several names on it, including the owner of the farmstead. He gave permission for the sheriffs to take the truck on Thursday. They put up a $5,000 reward. There's no way 26 miles is a marathon. Yeah, that is kind of odd. So far, friends, family, police, community members have all turned up empty-handed, but the niece said she won't be giving up anytime soon. So there is a GoFundMe to help her 14-year-old and her 8-year-old daughter. 3,445 was raised so far. Here's the link if anybody wants it. All the funds raised to the goal would be matched dollar for dollar by Ann's brother George. We appreciate donations of cash through GoFundMe. Obviously, we are in need of dental, pediatric, and psychological practitioners. I don't know. Your mom goes missing. I don't think you'd be thinking of your dentist. But here's the original story. If you are thinking about donating, here's the original story. See, but Val, you're into all the missing. I'm not into missing persons. Like, there's just no way to get info. You have to rely on what you read in the newspaper. There's nothing like, unless it happens in my area, I don't know the area, so I don't know which way to go or which way they went. Now, this one I can tell you, I remember this. I got this yesterday. There is an Amber Alert right now for two boys, Caden Wall and Colder Wall. They were last seen on October 16th in Mississippi, but state of Alabama issued a child abduction emergency Amber Alert on behalf of MS Police Department. They're trying to locate a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. They were last seen October 16th. And are believed to be in extreme danger. The two boys were abducted by Sarah Caswell, white female. Sarah may be traveling in a silver 2007 Audi A4 2.0 with Alabama tags 25A2195 and maybe in the Mobile, Alabama area. If you have any information regarding these children, please contact Pasquaga Police Department at 228-762-2211 or call 911. Yeah, you got the alert too. So again, you're looking for a silver Audi, 2007 silver Audi A4 2.0 with Alabama tag 2B as in boy, A as in apple, 2195, and could be in the Mobile, Alabama area. Now, it doesn't say she was the mom or anything. It doesn't say who she was. It just says that they were abducted. So that I know because I remember getting the alert yesterday. So I knew there was something. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Oh. Hold on. Is this it? Okay. So check this out. This is a story I'm going to cover more tomorrow, but I'm just going to give you guys a feel of what it is. It's pretty interesting. So, you know how I always say, like, Alabama has right to shoot or whatever it's called, right to protect yourself. So, there's an Alabama woman not far from me, actually, who she's 32 years old. She entered a plea deal. She killed somebody and was actually sentenced to 20 years. They suspended most of her sentence, but the whole case is pretty interesting. I'm definitely going to cover it tomorrow. I've been at 9.67. Actually, I was at 9.68, so I actually dropped. At one point I was at 9.8 and then I dropped. So yes, we're not doing so hot. The stand your ground, yeah, it's a very interesting case out of the stand your ground law because she's not going to do the 20 years, but the whole I don't want to get too into it today because I wanted to get into it tomorrow, but it's really interesting. And I forgot all about it, but it's a very interesting case. Because personally, they don't believe that she actually was sticking up for herself, and yet they did suspend most of it. So she's only doing like 18 months in county, 18 months of house arrest, and 18 years of probation. But it's all a matter of, was she raped or was she not raped? There was no proof that she was raped, but I don't want to get too into it. I'm saving that for tomorrow. But everyone thinks like stand your ground law is an automatic win. It's not. It's not at all. Especially here. Like they want hard evidence. So, all right, that's what I have for you. And we are at 1 hour. So, I'm going to shut down. Hopefully, this took everyone's mind away from some drama. I am going to watch episodes 5 and 6 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. You have to prove that you really had to. I know, but it's when you hear this case, Hummingbird, you're going to be like, wow. Because her story matches, like her story, it sounds legit. But then when people started looking into it, it's not so legit. But she ended up beating the crime. But it's something good to talk about tomorrow. I've been meaning to talk about it for like a week, and then just got sidetracked. So thank you, Muppets. But the stories that I read to you tonight, I'm going to put the full stories on the website. I'm going to do that while I'm watching the show. So if you want to read them in detail, I'll put them on the website. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I may go live after work on other channel, but I am going to every night this week or until I hit 10,000, I'm going to be on this channel. So there's enough crime out there that I can cover it every night of the week. And that's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Don't kill anyone and don't find any dead bodies. And don't say Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Peace.